start welcoming. Get this other one rolling with us too. Hold on. Happy Thursday, 8/29/2024. This will work. Okay. I've been smudging, grounding, as always. If you jump on and have questions, please ask. I'm kind of bringing you into my morning tea, halfway or maybe partway through a thought, so bear with me. There we go. As we get settled in here, welcome into my art studio. Queen of Flamingos. Oh, what do I have? Alice in Wonderland, because we're exploring the unmentionables, the odd things, bizarre experiences. That's what came to mind this morning. I have a tendency to talk about the pain body stuff, the painful things. Guided to. But I think through that journey, one thing that I realized this morning is through all those painful experiences, some of those were like super bizarre, just weird things. I've always wondered why. I don't know that we'll go into that. Messages for a Rabbit came up, and Queen of Flamingos, kind of somewhere to start. So I have an Alice in Wonderland tarot, and I have an Alice in Wonderland oracle. And I've got this guide to the art oracles, or this art oracle thing over here too. We might dive into that. Smudging with sweetgrass, smudging with sage. Okay, we'll start with Queen of Flamingos because I brought her up first. And she's talking about sorrow. Sorrow is on my mind today. Man of Constant Sorrow has been playing. Pretty Polly's been playing. My son and I got into a conversation about bluegrass music this morning, because my grandfather has been in a bluegrass band for a long time. I don't know, 30 years maybe, longer. I just remember him picking up a guitar like around retirement, and then diving into this land of bluegrass, and has been in there for I guess decades. It feels like most of my life. And so many of those types of songs are heartache songs, pain songs, sorrowful songs. So there are outlets for this. There are healthy places for this to go. But when we discuss it, or when we bring it up in this sort of a situation, or in casual settings, people have a tendency to shut down, or to kind of turn off or turn away from those sort of things. So we'll go into exploring the bizarre experiences of the sorrowful mind. What else does our queen tell us here? Sorrow, often widowhood, intelligence, with knowledge of the darker side of the world. So we'll go into the darker side of the world, and you want to bear with me. I'm just eyeballing neighbors, and it's garbage day. Recycling just came, so hopefully we won't be interrupted here for a while, and we can just get through this, at least until I get interrupted. One who has gone from happiness to failure. And my thought from happiness was like that, that childlike youth, innocence, that purity, that happiness before, like, the ignorance is bliss thing, right? When we're ignorant of all the concepts and all the issues and the struggles and the systems of the world. And then life happens, right? We fail. We're learning to walk, we fall down, and we get back up over and over and over and over and over again. And that's okay. It's okay to work through the failures. We'll talk about the failures. I mean, this is all aspected towards the transformation guide, and what is transformation, and transforming through these difficult things and alchemizing these emotions and these energies. Service to the animal world. I guess we'll go into the art deck too, because we're cultivating conscious co-creative communities. We're cultivating conscious creativity. I'm cultivating conscious creativity. What does it mean to be a conscious creator? Conscious creativity. Learn everything from nothing. It guys, Klein comes into mind. Include yourself in your list of materials, which got me into thinking of another reflection I got into yesterday. I'm thinking a lot about, I guess, that authentic self, that raw self, exploring that through nude modeling, and like a little rant there. Still like writing piece, but wondering if so I drink that kind of tea that's got like the little yogi sayings or whatever on it sometimes. Today's life is best lived by focusing on your goals and dancing through all other distractions. Dancing through distractions. That's I had like Pretty Polly on repeat. It's new to my Kelsey karaoke list, I guess, today. Trying to figure out guitar and things too. I've been trying to figure out like my whole life, and I feel like I've failed at these things for a large portion of my life, and I keep coming back to them after time goes, right? When I'm gonna say it. I feel like my muscles are more stretched and tired, where things are slower and it can slow things down quite a bit. I don't know. And so in Chinese astrology or whatever, I'm a rabbit too, so we have messages for a rabbit. It's one of the first things that popped up. And I feel like as we're continuing to develop this channel as a rabbit, right, you get to come with me down these rabbit holes. So let's kind of see where we can start in going through this, because we are, so sorrow is a release and to let go, a purging, a cleansing, a freeing, a liberating, although deep and heavy, right? Learn everything from nothing. It feels like nothingness, especially if you get into that depressive state where like nothing is important and nothing matters, or you just feel like nothing. Enroll in a judo class is also here. I'll look more to the book too. We're just going to kind of ping pong around whatever comes up. See if we can come up with like a cohesive directive. It doesn't even feel like that. It's just catalyzing. It's just catalyzing energies to get your thought processes going and to get your transformations going. I guess it's stirring the pot a bit. Service to the animal world. It's a service to you. How queer it seems, Alice said to herself, to be going messages for a rabbit. I suppose Dino will be sending me on messages next. Going on messages for rabbit? Is that what it... Sending out okay, maybe that kind of feels like a thing, because words have been on my mind a lot. Words, frequencies, cymatics, thoughts creating things, materializing things through consciousness, and one thing I've noticed in a lot of these conversations, or I have some of these conversations, or just in interactions with people. I do a lot of work with community-oriented people, creative people who have influence or want to have influence, or who do some sort of directive. I feel like every artist has influence. Anytime you make a creation, it influences the world around you, the collective consciousness around you, right? It creates vibrations. Do I want to go? No, let's not go too far down that rabbit hole, because I can go into like Rupert Sheldrake and the morphic resonance field and all that, where we source down this information, and how I just have this thought somehow that artwork impacts or somehow can be connected to the morphic resonance field, and he's like, no, you can't do that. It's not a tangible object. But I'm trying to continue this conversation with him in my head, and I have the last couple of years since meeting him at the IONS conference. And I would like to continue that conversation, and I feel kind of rushed, I think, through a lot of these things, or maybe even lately, because there's just, like, timing is everything. These opportunities aren't going to exist forever. It's like having a thought and then taking the action, doing the thing. Let's see. Within this card, Alice finds herself etching gloves and a fan for the white rabbit. While she hurries to help the strange little creature, she begins to imagine her cat, Dinah, giving orders. Alice wonders what she might be commanded to do once she returns home. In Wonderland, the lines that divide humans and animals are very, very blurred. When this card comes to you, it suggests that you can also understand the needs for creatures, animals, and wild things by stilling the human world about you and tuning into the greater world, the energy that is all about us. You'll know what is needed. Getting to nature. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Helping animals. Animal communication and proximity to animals, enjoying the company of animals. Sitting here, like, singing Pretty Polly, and this little lizard comes out and hangs out. But he comes and visits me in my studio every day I was open the last few weeks. He's one of those who had his, like, tail bit off. I think my dog got it, or something else got his tail, part of his tail. I've just been watching his tail go back. But these lizards that lose part of their tail, they're kind of brave. They're not afraid of the things that take their tail. It's like they know it'll go back. They know it'll come back, or something. And, like, they just trust. It's like an inner knowing. But they get close. He even came into the garage too at one point, and they just watch. They're very observant. Rewards of friendship, closeness, and trust. Intuitively knowing needs. Okay, we're doing this because we're just gonna go with whatever feels right. Belong to your own dream also comes up. And stating sovereignty, declaring freedom, passing a test. I'm gonna put these in the deck, and I'm gonna kind of shuffle through them and smudge them a bit. If you jump on, you can ask questions. You can reach out to me for personal readings too, private stuff. Wonder what will happen next. Ready to adventure, precipice of change, pause before action. That's what it feels like. Because, I mean, even if you put, like, a catalyst in the mix, there's still a time factor. Keeping up immense effort in advance. Maybe we'll come back to tarot here too in a second. Let's start kind of here with the bizarreness of things. How did that happen and how did that occur? I have these funny thoughts about choices. Like, somebody recently, in a tiff of anger, you come into my DMs and talk about your problems, and your problems said blah 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 blah. Like, it's just like, well, okay. Choice is so complex. I wrote about it. It's floating around. There's articles on my LinkedIn page or whatever that I'm trying to put some of these concise thoughts on, so somewhere to direct you when these things come up. And there are these, like, verbal conditions, right? We put these verbal conditions on these scenarios and on these situations. And so if we have certain beliefs, like, I choose to do this and therefore this, you can live a very simple and basic life. You can limit yourself to these social norms and these programs that can shape your psyche and the way you relate to the world around you. Or you can be open to things being bigger, better, more than your conscious or intuitive awareness, more than what you can conceptualize for yourself. You can be open to intuition, intuitive things, and when you expose and open that channel that frequency, you tap into the kundalini, go into the body, and all that yada yada, you know? You source. There's like a plethora of energy. And if you can get in alignment with that universal flow, I don't want to sound new agey, isn't it? New agey. This is quantum agey. Informed by quantum fields, quantum dynamics, right? And you go into that realm of like experimentation of let's just see what will happen. Bizarre things can happen. Strange things can begin to happen. And I think the more aware you become of these certain circumstances and you get yourself out of these boxes and out of these molds and start breaking through these systems and going into that land of sovereignty. What is sovereignty? Supreme power or authority. It's a self-governing state, a state of being where you're self-governing. You don't have a governing body or a governing entity outside of you telling you what to do. Right? You're governing yourself. There's laws, there's justice. There are boundaries. Physical, energetic, intellectual, maybe. Find the lesson. Discover the purpose in a situation. Trust that you are learning. It's always learning. Right? These bizarre situations are learning opportunities. But I have. And a lot of these things have been really difficult, and they've been hard and sad and difficult to process and heavy. You know, like, it's all the emotional stuff. The muscle memory. The learning the processes. It's like the proof is in the pudding. You can see it, the scars, right? The definition. Let's go here-ish. Mortality. Life is bright. Brief, bright, beautiful, and yours to live. The Hanged Man, looking at things differently, looking at mortality differently, the end of things differently. I keep having this thought too. The things that I haven't been wanting to mention, right? All these things I've been kind of like keeping as thoughts, but I've been having this thought about death, about people who have died in the last few years, with all this lockdown stuff. Even beyond, and kind of the consequences of these sort of things, heartaches, right? Heartaches. Focus. We've lost a lot of people, and it's been sad, and it's been difficult, and it's been a lot to process on a collective level. And something else I've noticed in that, there have been some people that have passed who, seeing communities mourn and grieve over. And it's not that, like, I'm glad these people are gone. There's, like, relief in the mortality. Strength of the unicorn, right? The unicorn over here. Strength of the heartache, right? And strength. But there are these people who have done things that have had really negative consequences for me, that have been harmful for me, that have hurt me, that have made me really sad. Like, intentionally, that have done things to hurt me, whether it's like, putting things in my drinks and drugging me, or setting me up to take my job, or a part of my job, or like slapping me across the face, or what was the other one? Oh, just like another like person who has done things not only to harm me, but like used his position of power to harm others, but in a way to like try to call me crazy and like take my kid away, basically. But there's a relief in knowing that there's, I don't know, I just feel like that needs to be mentioned. Because I'm processing through that. Mortality is challenging. Transformation is challenging. How these sort of things can catalyze other things, or I feel like when things, people, person, places are dead and gone, or no longer part of you, they can no longer influence you or affect you, or they're not there to harm you anymore, and you can sleep a little bit better at night, or some of that pressure comes off. I feel like there needs to be some sort of like ceremony around that, or something needs to be acknowledged, because we get into this space of death is horrible. These things are very painful. These things are awful, and it just doesn't feel good to grieve somebody that means something to you, even if they've done something that has harmed somebody else. You know, I don't know if I want to stay in there for a little bit. Maybe let's look at, okay, because so mortality in here is 42. 42 is the meaning of life. If we go into that, the ironies, the synchronicities. Life is brief, bright, beautiful, and yours to live. If that their king was to wake at a Tweedledum, you'd go out, bang, just like a candle. I shouldn't, Alice exclaimed indignantly. Okay, so like my fire is still burning. Right? There's nothing there that is going to take that flame out or put that fire out, or if there is something there that is trying to put that flame and put that fire out, I want to say mortality is a real consequence, but I don't want to make it like consequence, like reward or punishment, just consequential in the nature of things. When something ends, something has to begin. When something begins, something has to end. Life is, as Tweedledum points out, a strange thing. Yes, it's fucking bizarre. It's just bizarre, where we can go out in just a moment. I mean, it can be here, or it can be there. And that thing about choice, too. Oh, your choices. You can make all the choices in the world. But when it comes to something catastrophic, or some of these external events, they're just things that have such a sudden impact on you where you don't get to choose. You're just changed and you're shaped by what had happened. And you feel it, and you work with that. You work with those feelings, and you work with those energies. It doesn't have to be nothing. We can attribute meaning to it if we want to. Let's go to here. Instead of living as if there is forever or a better place to go to, whereas if other lifetimes or existence in the afterlife will be better, live like this life is all you have. In other dimensions, and it's not about being better or worse. Things just are. They are good and bad, no matter which dimension we're going into. Those are judgments, right? Appreciation of existence, relishing being alive, making the most of every moment, accepting mortality in ourselves and in others, living in the present, feeling joy at being alive. So good to be alive. Life is best lived by focusing on your goals and dancing through all other distractions. Maybe that's where some of that mortality energy is, or just where, in our tribal nature, we gather around a fire when there's a passing, a mourning, a transition, a rite of passage. And mortality can be seen as a rite of passage too. There's a fire and there's dancing around the fire. There's music, there's singing, there's chanting, there's vibration. There isn't always in all. And we're missing this element. We're missing this a lot. It's not that it's missing, it's there, but it's, capitulating? Ooh. I don't know. Maybe. Capitulating? Coagulating almost, like it feels. The chariot, it's in movement, it's motion. Should we look at our art guides here? Yeah, let's look into our art guides. Let's see what these artists are looking at. Creators and creating our own lives and our own futures. Piet Mondrian. Logic should come from the heart. True simplicity takes a lot of concentration. Find utopia in a straight line. This came up to consolidate, concentrate, the concentrated efforts. There's a lot of distractions. You can dance through distraction to help you concentrate. Something about mind moving bodies. Interesting. Frida Kahlo is coming up too. Okay, I can show you. There are lines, there are boxes, right? I don't know if I need utopia in a straight line. So it's perspective. Taking perspective. Is that what we're doing? We're shedding some perspective, some light on things. Light going into a prism. Right. We'll show you its many perspectives. Convalescence lasts a lifetime. You don't spell painting without pain. I focus on pain, body stuff because I'm a painter. I'm an artist. I feel pain and it is expressed in my work. I can't not put it in there if I'm not if I'm feeling it. I mean, it's an exact transmutation, maybe even. Art is your most loyal companion. Maybe that's why I really like doing this in my art studio. Right? I think that's why I like to hold on to my paintings. I don't like to mass produce and I can be a prolific expressor, but I don't like to mass produce just for the sake of monetary gain. It doesn't feel right to me. They're extensions, right, of myself, of my body. Things that like get cut up and dispersed. I want to be put back together, that want to be pieced together. Like they magnetize to each other, they want to stay together, they want to stay with me. So when they do go to others, or when there is that energetic exchange, there's a trust and a caring. What was that book that I read when I was little? I used to read classic novels a lot. I'm hyperlexic, so I was able to read at a college level at a very young age. And I was really into classic novels in like elementary school, middle school. Oh, The Portrait of Dorian Gray. That one's always stuck out with me, and maybe that's why the morphic resonance kind of goes into that. Like the painting ages, not the man, right? It takes on an essence. I don't want to say it takes on a power, but it takes on an essence. Externalize your internal world. there's our lizard friend again. I meditate and reflect on confidence a lot, because when it comes to putting my artwork out there, putting myself and my artwork, whatever, out there, it gets various responses. Like, I think about my very first painting. I was young. I used whatever enamel paints I found that were like laying in our spare bedroom, like a paperboard, and I painted a landscape at night. And purple flowers. Like, I had a limited color palette. I used what I could, and it came out as a field of flowers at night. All the flowers are open at night. And I show my mom, and her first response is, "Oh, that's dark." And there's like a, it's a field of flowers. But that's always, you be very self-conscious of how people react and respond to the things that I put out there. Not that it's bad. I've had to learn that. I mean, if you put something out there, if you're externalizing something and it's authentic and it's artwork, the execution of it, the implementation of it, can contain beauty. There's beauty in that pain. And so connecting those two dots, I think we want to separate that. Like Frida Kahlo, beautiful woman, very amazingly talented, and there's the documentary movie or whatever about her, with Selma Hayek in it. Very good, but very much in pain. Not just physical pain, but emotional pain, relationship pain. But finding that healing, finding that voice, finding the heart. Her heart is here in the parrot, right? Despite all the backstabbing, despite all of that, right? Finding ways to stand between the light and the dark. Finding that balance between the light side and the dark side. The harmony, right? Butterflies for transformation. You take this pain, you take that life experiences, and then you transform them. And all through here is the heart, and the heart magnetizes, heart magnetizing energy. Which one next? If you have questions, you can ask. I almost want to go into a new deck or whatever. No, you have to reach out to me individually. Page of Hats. Like, just kind of bring what you got. Bring what you have to the table, and we'll go from there. That's a 5, Jack. Hold on, let's 10. Let's feel it. Feel it. These bizarre experiences. The more I lean into these bizarre experiences, a lot of them I can test here. I can put them in front of my research. I can objectify these bizarre sensations I'm feeling. I can put them in front of thousands of people, and they confirm yes. Never have I gotten a no, that's wrong. Never, which makes these things all the more weird and all the more bizarre, because they come through as different types of sensations. I would say there's that Queen of Flamingo again. Comes in through feelings and just sensing Oh, there are two other words that I heard this morning. Is it biokinetic? I don't think that's right for either one. But I'm like fusing two different things together here. One is if you're, what should you call it? Something kinetic. Then you don't like people touching you or whatever. I always had a really difficult time with that, and I just feel like there are certain sensations, and if I really think about it, or especially people are going in through the channels or the entry points, or they're touching me in certain places that are very electromagnetically amplified or sensitive. I just absorb all that energy like a sponge, and it comes through as feelings, pictures, sounds. If you really look into it and go into those pictures, it's like in The Giver. It's not nearly that clear, but I feel like if I trained it could be, right? And like being able to transmute information of like, here, see the picture, and the memories are passed through that. They're electrical signals. We are salt batteries in our meat suits, right? We can transmute a lot of that energy. One of the other words, biokinetic, is the guy talking about something in relationship to something completely unrelated, but it made me think of how the earth, the world responds to, or how we respond to the biosphere, the biofield. Maybe this is a good time to introduce that. I feel like people are a lot more receptive to these ideologies than they were, 15 years ago when I started doing this. In the realm of this, I also use typically chalk pastels to attribute color to people. I can color your biofield, feel color around people, and you can map it out. You might call it biofield. People, what's that? Do I have one of those? I live in a biosphere, toroidal biosphere. Our hearts create these biofields, toroidal fields around us, electromagnetic energy. Toroidal field within toroidal fields within toroidal fields within toroidal fields. And I can sense them and attribute them to color. This feels like a color. And, not sure why we went off on that tangent, but there's more that I can do for you. You just have to reach out to me. Especially in these like liminal spaces, right? In these spaces between, you can come to this now, you can be in this life space now, you can come to this later, months later, and simultaneously going through two different fields. People can come to this months later, years later, but still, again, in this liminal space, kind of outside of space and time. Let's look at Page of Hats there, because it's, again, being in that liminal space, trying to balance things, trying to juggle things. Lovers, probably, what are you going to do? The love situation is split, and that dynamic is done. Okay, so Page of Hats. That can be any sort of connection. We're talking about Tweedledee and Tweedledum and internal processes to light sides, dark sides, so this can be referring to your cognitive dissonance, holding two different beliefs at one time and then not really knowing, but having to decide which belief to make the primary belief. Is that a decision? I don't know if that's a decision or something we just have to train through practice, through adjusting our environment, altering the environment. That biofield, or it's in ways of relating, quantum relays of relating to things. Let's look at Page of Hats, because I feel like there's a lot more information in there, but I can't get it all out at once. It's just going to have to come out in lots of these, and I'm doing my best to concentrate my energy, so when these thoughts and things come up, I can just put them out there instead of keeping them in, and then not mentioning things and holding things back. But now we're going to talk about the unmentionable things. Not so much that they're not hidden, but like we're told we can't talk about them, like if it's sad or if it's this or it's that. It makes other people uncomfortable, so we can't do it, but it's prolonging discomfort, and we keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and we really need to start looking at and addressing these sort of things, because it's just going to come out in other collective subconscious ways, like war, right? War, famine, kidnapping, I don't know why that comes to mind. Just be aware of that, or just how to, again, within sovereignty, again, sovereignty, self-governing state, a state of self-governing, right? Always watching, not relying on the state, or not relying on things outside of you to take care of that. You have to be self-advocating. That's something that's really been coming to mind a lot lately too, especially in that convalescence lasts a lifetime kind of thing, and reflecting back on how I got to here. I've had to self-advocate the whole way. Anytime, I mean, this is part of that bizarre situation, because it doesn't happen to everybody, just for whatever reasons. It's happened to me, for no reasons. But there's just these, let me see it. It's not important. I think you get the point. Because your own story is coming up here is why. So it's not so much the story that's important, but the solution that we're trying to get through. So we're going to just kind of concentrate on that part, which gets us here, right? It only fits so much in your hat. I mean, unless it's a rabbit's hat. A person given to intense concentration on studies or on a project, reflective, loyal, helpful, and trustworthy, a good type of secretive work. News or messages. The reverse side of this, susceptible to distraction. That's why we're dancing, making things more ceremonial, keeping that, I don't want to say like consciousness at the forefront, but I feel like there's lack of better terminology at this point. Unable to ignore impulses, seductive, destructive, so the unmentionables, and again, somewhere again with that balance, because you can't just say anything anywhere to anyone. It will kind of unnerve them or upset them, but at the same time, you have to use your best judgment. Because if you're going to catalyze with the unmentionables, you will get an immediate reaction. It doesn't have to be good or bad, just know that it's an immediate reaction you're going to get, and you have all that energy to synthesize and to work with. which is why people often prolong things or put things off so they don't get that reaction. You know, they're trying to generate a specific response to keep the peace, to keep things predictable, to keep things the same or similar, to avoid transformation, basically. Because you see that loyalness, helpfulness, you see that as being good, and you see anything outside of that as being bad. But there's no judgment at my table. It's not good, it's not bad. It's good and bad. It's both good and bad until we look at it as one or the other. Back to that Schrodinger cat thing. But we'll go to this guy. You know, Jack of Hearts or Page of Hats, and then we've got this 5 of Diamonds or 5 of Oysters, and 5, numerologically, and like 5 5s. I got all kinds of 5s. And when I'm understanding about the energy of the number 5, it's uncomfortable. It's catalyzing, it's instigating, and it is this. It's this kind of thing where it's very much just making you have to look at the things between both worlds. 5 in numerology is between the 1 and the 9, or the 1 and the 10, or the 1 and the 0, right? As it all loops back around, and 5 is right in the middle of that light and the dark. It can show you both sides of things, you know, and that's going to catalyze an action or catalyze some sort of there's a difference between impulses and things that are cultivated, thought about for a long time process. This is a space of research, right? This is years and years and years of work. This is lots and lots and lots of stuff. This isn't just opening up cards and then saying whatever is on my mind. There's a lot of ceremony around this, right? There's archiving, there's processing, there are there's a lot that we're working here with. And trust the process, right? Trust the process, lean into it, and then when you're ready to get to that trigger point and be catalyzed, it'll happen, right? 5 of Oysters. He's crying. He's got a tear. This little turtle shell rabbit, weird, funky looking armadillo thing. I'm trying to put all the pieces together. It's taking all of these difficult experiences and putting them all together to create your own home, your own shelter, your own safety. Despite all the pain's necessary. It's cleansing. It's not a bad thing. And it has to be felt. We all feel it. I'm going to close it here because my distraction is here. But I think it's a good spot to stop anyway. Reach out. Thanks for showing up. And